The mastermind behind iconic childhood-defining movies like A Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline, director Henry Selick has teamed up with Jordan Peele to make his long-awaited, highly anticipated return to the world of stop-motion animation with Netflix's Wendell and Wild. Wendell and Wild is a delightfully wicked tale about two scheming demon brothers, Wendell and Wild, who are desperate to be summoned to the land of the living. For this task, they enlist the aid of Kat Elliott, a tough teen who carries the weight of the past on her shoulders. Kat agrees to help, but her demand in return leads to a brilliantly bizarre and comedic adventure that defies the law of life and death. Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele star as our main brothers, Wendell and Wild, but it's Lyric Ross who breathes life into our main protagonist, Kat, who's a character that I wish was around when I was an angsty teenager. Kat grew up with her parents in the small but lively town of Rust Bank, but after tragedy strikes that leaves Kat an orphan, we see her harden into a person who is full of guilt, anger, and just a lot of loneliness. We fast forward 5 years and we see Kat being dropped off at a Catholic boarding school back in her hometown. Seeing that Rust Bank is now almost deserted, having never fully recovered from the death of her parents, much like she has never fully recovered. Her return sets off a chain of events with newfound powers emerging, marking her as a Hell Maiden, who is somebody who can bring demons into the land of the living. And, if you're paying attention, Wendell and Wild happen to be demons and are looking forward to taking advantage of her newfound power. One thing that I really loved about this movie is that even though there are similarities to Selick's past films, Wendell and Wild creates brand new, unique characters that we have never seen before. It really feels like they sat down and fleshed out every single character, giving them their own unique personality without infringing on other characters, if that makes sense. It stands on its own, and they did a really good job of ensuring that when we're talking about Henry Selick movies or stop motion animation movies, we're not grouping it in with the other two. It's going to stand by itself, and I think they did a really good job of making that happen. And I think that co-writer Jordan Peele did a good job of helping this movie stand on its own by inserting his own brand of humor, specifically with the characters of Wendell and Wild. I mean, it totally helps that Wendell and Wild look like Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, literally just identical in demon form, is hilarious. And I think it's those little quirks that really separate it from its predecessors and just give it that uniqueness that I was really hoping for. But for me, the shining star of this movie is obviously our main character, Kat, who I so eloquently described in my notes while I was watching this, I shit you not. Kat is a badass goth queen. I would gladly let her step on my neck with those cute ass boots. Kat is a character who we often do not get in family movies like this, and that's because, of course, she's flawed. She went through a traumatic event in her childhood. She doesn't have a welcoming personality. She's not putting herself out there to fit in, and she doesn't strive to be liked by everyone. She understands that her past plays a huge part in the person that she is today, and she really is just constantly on the defense, trying hard not to make relationships because she feels like any meaningful relationship that she makes will just inevitably end in tragedy. And I cannot emphasize enough how much I would have killed to have a character like this to relate to when I was growing up. Selick and Peele did a really great job creating a character that is cool. She's alone and she's a loner, but that's okay because she has her own specific identity and people still want to be around her even though she's different than them. And that's something that I've never seen before and that I think is incredibly important to portray those type of characters to teens, specifically nowadays, who feel like they're alone, who feel like they're going through all of these emotions by themselves. And having characters like this will help them understand that A, they're not alone, and B, their unique identity is extremely important and that it should be celebrated and accepted by their peers no matter how different they are. The other movies that portray this, it ultimately ends with that main protagonist who feels alone, conforming to societal standards and what their peers like and what they wear and what they listen to. Basically, it was just someone telling us to conform to fit in, and I love the message that comes through in the character of Kat. Be yourself and people will accept you for who you are, because at the end of the day, you're a good person and you deserve to be loved. Sorry, I got off on a bit of a tangent there, but I just thought this was really cool to see and I want to keep seeing it. Keep bringing it. We need this, okay? The youths need this message. Another thing I wanted to point out that's probably very obvious is that the visuals are absolutely stunning. This movie has been in development since 2015, and I know stop motion takes quite a bit longer than a regular movie, but you can tell that they used those years to perfect every single detail, every single frame, every single character. They really made sure to give each and every aspect of this film its own identity and surrealness. It's absolutely stunning. You could just watch it on its own for the visuals on mute and 5 stars. But of course, no movie is perfect, and in my opinion, this suffered from some pacing issues in the middle. It really wasn't clear on where they were going to take this in the end and how they were going to wrap it up, because even though Kat is our main character, there are a lot of little side plots kind of working towards the bigger picture. And before I saw that bigger picture, I was just a little worried and confused on how they were going to wrap it up. Personally, I would have liked to seen more time spent with Wendell and Wild and Kat, and just like getting more of that dynamic and relationship, because it's actually really cute and wholesome. I totally understand that they were being ambitious. I commend them for that, but I just wish they would have scaled that back a little bit and given us more time with our main characters. But despite this, one of the biggest things that I loved was the ending, how everything kind of came together despite some of the pacing issues was just so fulfilling, and you feel like a lot of things just ended the way that they were supposed to end, and it really addresses so many different things. There's LGBTQIA plus representation. There's obviously our main protagonist is a young Black girl, which is always awesome, especially in animation. And yeah, I just think they did a fantastic job making this an inclusive, wholesome, funny, visually stunning stop motion animation movie, which just is like the icing on the cake. So yeah, I fucking loved it. Also, I would die for Sparky, and I know a lot of y'all are gonna feel the same way. And if none of what I just said excites you whatsoever, honestly, I don't know what to do for you at this point. Wendell and Wild comes out on Netflix on Friday, October 28th, and I couldn't think of a better way to kick off Halloween weekend. Thank you for watching, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, but if you really want to make my day, just hit that subscribe button and join us next time. Don't forget to keep up with me on Instagram at discofinalgirl, and I'll see you guys real soon. Stay creepy.